Everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Manisha Gupta ACCA. Again, I am back with a new video, and we are going to solve question from section C. A question name is Hammock Company, which was asked in March July 2020 exam, and also this is for the PM. Those students who are appearing for F5 paper known as performance management. So this video will be useful for that student who are preparing for their PM paper. Alright, so Hammock Company question. Basically, this belongs from the topic performance measurement, and you can see the question is all around 20 marks, and they have asked two requirement, and even though in that there is sub requirement as well. So first part, they are asking based on the limited information available, discuss the performance of Hammock Company in the light of its two existing objective. Okay, so might be there will be objective of the company, and based on that, whatever the information they have provided, we need to discuss the performance of this company based on the two objective listed in the background or in the scenario, and this is solely for the 8 marks. In the part B, they are asking explain two advantage of Hammock Company using the balance scorecard approach to the performance management. So basically it's quite easy one, so it's only for 3 marks. You need to explain the advantage if Hammock Company use balance scorecard. And the third, there is some requirement actually for the part B. Now the next requirement is suggest and justify one goal and two performance measurement for each of the two perspective of the balance scorecard which are not currently addressed by Hammock objective. So this is for the 9 marks. So altogether the question is all around your 20 marks. So I know from the performance measurement topic, if the question has been asked especially to evaluate the performance, student struggle to solve this question. So we will solve this question together and also highlight the few things that you need to keep in mind while solving this kind of question. Okay, so let's read the background, then we will again come back to the requirement and find the things and solve the question together. So let's have a recap about what the Hammock Company is, what is its objective, which has been mentioned in the requirement, the two objective, and what the information they have provided to us. Okay, so Hammock Company own and operate a small chain of 4 luxury vacation resort. Okay, all 4 resorts are located on island that enjoy a hot sunny climate for the 9 months of the year. Okay, so they are basically small chain of 4 luxury vacation resort, and during the 9 month throughout the year, the 9 month the climate is very hot and sunny one. Each resort has a government restaurant, water support, sports and spa facility, as well as a sun terrace and pool. Okay, Hammock Company management currently focus on two distinct stakeholder group, shareholder and the customer, and has a two objective: to make the profit long term and to create a customer loyalty. So if you have read the part 2 and its sub requirement the 2-1, the question said to discuss the two performance measurement for each of the two perspective of balance scorecard which are not currently addressed by Hammock Company objective. So basically if you look at the objective जो question ने दिया हुआ है, like to make the profit long term and to create the customer loyalty, if we remember the 4 perspective of balance scorecard, these two objective is only addressing the 2 perspective out of 4 of the balance scorecard. So अगर पहला वाला देखा जाए तो ये financial perspective को cover कर रहा है, and the second one it's covering the customer perspective, but other 2 perspective has not been covered in this objective. Okay, so all operational non-management staff at the resort receive comprehensive training and are employed in a secure long-term contract, which is unusual in this industry. That's very true. Guests who visit the resort pay one upfront fee, then enjoy unlimited food, drink, and use of the resort facility. So they only need to make the one-time upfront cost, and then they can enjoy unlimited food, drink, and the resort facility. When a guest arrives at a resort, they are personally greeted by a concierge, offered a drink and cold towel while their luggage is transferred to their luxury room. Sorry, where was we? Okay, when a guest arrives at the resort, they are personally greeted by a concierge, offered a drink and cold towel while their luggage is transferred to their luxury room. All rooms are surplusly clean and contain complimentary drinks, snacks, toiletries, bathrobes, sleepers. The rooms are all equipped with the appliances which Ham Company management believe that guests need during their stay, including the satellite television, coffee maker, refrigerator, hair dryer. If a guest requests something that is not available in the room, a call to reception ensures that it arrives within the 10 minutes. So basically, they are just discussing about the guest when they arrive. They need to pay the fee. They can enjoy the unlimited food, drinks, and other facility. Even though when they come to the resort, they are personally greeted. They are provided with the drink and the cold towel, right? And while their luggage has been transferred to their room which they have been booked. Okay, and in fact they're also discussing about the room, how is the room and what the things they contain. And even though any of the guests need anything extra which is not available in the room, they can get those within the 10 minutes. So they are all describing what's happening after the guests arrive at the resort and what the things what they will have when they will go to their room. Okay, next track from the Hammock company management accounting data is as follow. So they have provided us with a budgeted figure, actual figure of 2007 and actual figure of 2006, and 26 competitor launches. So average number of guests per week. Okay, so in 2007 we have decided that average number of guests will be 2000, but only 1960 guests has arrived, whereas back 1 year back the actual figure was 1940 only. But if you will compare to the competitor, they are only having 1700 guests. Okay, then they have provided with the average revenue, average staff cost, average week spent on the repairs, ratio of operational staff to the guest, average room available per week, and market share. All right, the actual figures are based on the year to date figures 10 weeks, and rooms are designed for double occupancy. So basically they have provided a double star here, so that means they are saying the room are designed for double occupancy. Note, general inflation is 2% higher in the 2007. So if we compare the inflation from 2006 to 2007, it's only 2% higher. Now extract from the trip event an influential online customer forum. I love Hammock Company. The service and attention to detail is exemplary, and the resort are always pristine. However, their competitor Longer has a full body dryer, ionized water taps, and a range of professional hair care equipment in all their rooms. Our third time back to Hammock Company this year, we continue to be amazed by the wonderful level of service. One thing though is the menus don't seem to have changed from one visit to the next. We booked Hammock Company on the spur of the moment, but found that we could not get a flight. We couldn't get the flight. We called Hammock Company administrative care to change our booking to another resort where we could get a flight. to and were told that it would not be problem. However, it took 2 more calls, 3 emails to get confirmation. Then our credit card was charged twice in error. Of course, it was eventually all resolved. The incorrect charge refunded and a complimentary limousine provided to and from the airport, and we received the most amazing customer service at the resort. But it was frustrating at the time. While I made a booking, I was assured that my bed would be made with a special anti-allergenic bedding which I need for a good night's sleep, and that my favorite blend of tea would be available when I arrived. Neither of these requirements were made. To be fair to the Hammock company, though, even everything was in order 2 hours later when I went to the bed. So basically, the one customer is providing the feedback. How was the experience? Even though it was the third visit with the Hammock company, and he or she has been just explained their experience at the Hammock company. Okay, so these are the all the information, background provided. And now let's be back to the requirement. We will discuss the first part A, then we will come to the part B. So I am back by solving the part A of the requirement asked in by the examiner. The first requirement was based on the limited information available, discuss the performance of Hammock company in the light of its two existing objectives. See, they specifically mention based on the two objective listed by company, we need to discuss the performance of the Hammock. So if you want link whatever the performance analysis you have done, but if you don't link it to the objective listed, you might lose the marks. Okay, so it is very important to read the requirement. So as they mention, to analyze the performance of Hammock company against mentioned objective. And what was that? So we have already covered the scenario where the question has where they have explained about the Hammock company, their two objective, and also how the guest come, what the treatment or special facility we provide to them, and what are the services infrastructures that is available once the guest will reach to their room. And also they have provided certain numbers which are listed below. They provided the budgeted figure. They also provided the actual versus the last year actual figure, and also they have provided the competitor figures for the last year. And also there are some of the feedback from the customer which have been listed here. So we have covered everything. So now it's time to solve. It's time to discuss the performance of Hammock company based on these two objectives, which is first one is to make the profit in the long term, and the second one is to create a customer loyalty based on the whatever the limited information they have provided. So I have done for you. So let's read this together so that you can pick up the things. So now first objective. See guys, it is very important to clearly marks which part of requirement you guys are solving. So if you messed up everything, it will be quite difficult for the examiner to mark and figure out which part of the requirement you have answered, right? So it's very important to have a clear heading, so which part of the requirement you guys are solving. Okay, so here, so part A of the question I am solving, and I'm discussing here the first objective of the company, which is to make a profit in the sorry, in the long term. Okay, so I have started here. Hammock company appears to performing reasonably well toward this objective, although there are some concerns. So I have just here scanned the figure and discussed earlier as well, जैसे कि मैंने पहले भी बोला हुआ था. So if you compare the budgeted and actual figure of 2007, so we we don't have achieved the target, we don't hit the target that has been provided by company to their employee. So you can see the budgeted figure was in for number of guests per week was 2000. However, we achieved only 9060, so we failed to achieve 2000, and the difference is very minimal. The next, regarding the revenue, also we achieve lower than what we have planned. However, maintenance cost is same as we have decided in the budget, and even the service cost is same. And but yes, average weekly spend on repair has been reduced. Okay, we have failed to achieve the target in some area. In some case we have really done the good, and so that's why I have started writing Hammock company appears to performing reasonably well toward this objective. This objective means first one, although there are some concern. So if we compare to our competitors, I mean last year performance as well as competitor, we have really improved little bit. Okay, so let's discuss all this figure. See, for the profit, if we are talking about profit, that means companies should focus on the revenue and the cost figure. Why? Because profit is difference between income and the expenses, right? But there are some other non-financial side of things that company need to consider as well if they want to earn more profit and want to earn more profit for the long term. So like if they are providing the well customer services, even the quality of services is very good, more customer will come, and more customer will come means our revenue will automatically increase. Similarly, if we are having a good control over the cost, it can also increase the profit. So in this area we are just discussing the revenue and the cost side of things, because the objective itself is to make the profit. Okay, so in the long term. So now I have started from the revenue and the guest figure. So you can see, if we are comparing the actual figure of the last year and the actual figure of the current year. So current year is 2007, okay, and the last year is 2006. So we can calculate the percentage change in the guest number per week. So you can see what the figure I have used for the calculation. So I have taken the current year figure minus the last year figure divided by the last year figure. So it is showing that number of guests has been increased by 1.03%. And even though we will compare the revenue, if we will see the what is the percentage of changes in the revenue, so you can see I have taken the 3.9 million and 3.8 million, which is the last year figure. So I have calculated the percentage change, and it is also exactly 1.03%. Okay, so I have explained here the average number of guests increased from 940 in 2006 to 19 sorry, let me read it one more time. The average number of guests increased from 1940 in 2006 to 1960 in 2007. That is very true, which is already mentioned in this question. We need to show the reason. We need to show how it impact to the company like P&L, profit. Okay, so this showed that demand for the resort has improved compared to the last year. Obviously, by increase in the number of guests arriving from last year to current, it is in increasing order. That means the demand for the resort has been improved. So number of guests coming at the Hammock company is increased. So that means it has been improved. Demand has been increased. So average revenue has also been increased from 3.88 million to 3.99 million in the current year, which means that company is generating higher sales and maybe moving toward the long-term profitability. That's fine. So in next paragraph, I have explained, however, actual performance is below budget. Obviously, if we compare the 2007 figure, the actual performance is below budget. So because, and it is very minimal. So the budgeted number of guests was 2000 per week, but actual guest was only 1960. So revenue was also below the budgeted at 3.9 million compared to the 4 million. This means that although performance improved compared to the last year, but company failed to achieve its planned target for the current year. So this is how I have explained the things. Now next thing, I have compared the market share, which will also link to the profit somehow. So the company market share fell from 29% to 28% in 2000. See, even the number of guests has been increased, even the revenue has been increased, but market share has been fell. And why it is so? That means competitor has attracted more customer than us. This suggests that competitor may be attracting some customer, which may reduce future profitability if the trend continue. Obviously, if this trend continue, even though we have done very good in the attracting the number of guests as compared to the last and the current year, even though revenue has been increased, but our customer has performed more well. That's why they have attracted certain customer towards them, and this led to the fall in our market share. So this is how I have explained regarding the average number of guests, average number of revenue, and the market share percentage. Then in next paragraph, I have explained regarding the cost. So you can see, so I have just calculated the percentage change in the cost provided in the question. So if you will look at the maintenance cost compared to the last year and the current, it has been increased by 2%. Okay, and again in changes in the service staff. Okay, so again I have calculated the percentage change in service cost, staff cost, which is also 2%, but change in repair has been fallen by 18%. Okay, and one more thing interesting, question also mentioned that the general inflation is 2% higher in 2007. So maybe this increment is due to the inflation. Okay, so average repair cost fell from 196,078 to 160,000. You can see the table which has been provided in the question. So this may improve short-term profits because costs are lower. Obviously it will improve because we are just reducing our repair cost. Okay, so but why we are reducing? That means the quality of facility, like every time the customer or guest visit to the hotels or resort, so there is somehow wear and tear cost, so we are just reducing that cost. Okay, so what will be impact of this? I have explained here. So this may improve the short-term profit because costs are lower. However, the resort are luxury resorts, and if less money is spent on the repairs, that means it will harm the quality of services, quality of facility that we are delivering to our guests, and it will also fall in the future if this trend will continue, and if this will fall, in that case our profit will be also impacted in the long run. So this is how I have linked everything. Okay, again regarding the staff cost has been increased only slightly compared to the last year despite of inflation of 2%, and this indicates the good control over the cost. Since staff are the major cost in the business, controlling staff cost will support profitability. Obviously in this kind of like industry, the staff will play very important role, and if we will hire the more, I think the staff has also been increased. And how I have been come to know this, you can see ratio of operational staff to the guest has been increased. That means number of staff has been increased, but and this increment in the 2% will also be the one of the reason for like this increment increase in the cost by 2% could also be explained by this increase in the ratio of operational staff to guest. Okay, so this could be also the one of the reason, or the reason could be the inflation as well. But somehow we, even the despite of having 2% inflation in the market, we are having a good control over the staff. Okay, so overall profitability has been improved compared to the last year, but budget target were not achieved and falling market share create a risk to the long-term profit. Obviously, even though we are doing good in the terms of revenue, even though we are doing good in the terms of cost, and we seems to be profitable in the current year, but however our market shares has been fall, so that means our competitor has performed more well than us. And if this trend will continue in the future, in that case obviously there's a risk of having a long-term impact in our profitability. So this is how I have explained the first objective, which is to make a profit in the long term. I hope this is clear. Now second objective is to create a customer loyalty. So Hammock company seems to be successful in creating the customer loyalty. And how I have identified this, let me show you some figures. Okay, so figure as well as some comment left by the customer. So one of the customer have mentioned, guest has mentioned they have visited the resort for the third time. So that means they are being loyal guest to the company, to the Hammock company, right? So this means company is creating a customer loyalty. So let's read out this paragraph. I have just explained everything that will support to this objective. Okay, so Hammock company seems to be successful in the creating customer loyalty. So customer comment, one of the customer comments so that many guests return repeatedly, and one of the customer have stated that they have visited the resort for the third time in the same year. You can see our third time back to the Hammock company this year. See, so which is supporting the, it is a very strong evidence of the customer loyalty, that customer is visiting third time within the same year, right? So also guest also praise the high level of services. Comment describe the service as exemplary and wonderful. This suggests that company policy of giving staff comprehensive training and secure cost is helping maintaining excellent customer services. See, you have read while we are reading the paragraph, the question in this background they have mentioned that they are providing training to their staff. Let me show you. Yeah, here it is. So staff at the resort receive comprehensive training and are employed in the secure long-term contract, which is unusual in this industry. See, so that means this training has been effective for the company. How? Because guests are praising the level of services they have been received from the Hammock company staff, and that means this training is somehow supporting for this, right? So I have explained this point. Then next I have explained the operational staff to guest ratio increased from 1.50 to 1.53, which I have shown here. So this means there are more staff available per guest than the last year, and this supports personalized services and many improve customer satisfaction and loyalty. Obviously, if we are increasing the staff, that means we need a more staff to handle the more customer, right? And it also indicates that we are providing the personalized services to the customer, and again it is supporting to the customer satisfaction and the loyalty, right? So next, however, some weakness are visible. Some customer complaint in this customer forum that about regarding they are facing the administrative issue that they have their booking has been changes, taking several calls, emails, and the incorrect credit card charges. This may damage customer satisfaction even though the issue was eventually resolved. See, the experience also matter, and even though we are having the high level of services, if this kind of things will go, it will obviously impact on the company image through the word of mouth, right? And again, customers, regarding customer satisfaction, we will be very low performer. So that even though we are solving this issue, this kind of issue eventually, but still the customer will be unsatisfied with this kind of activity, right? So this is the part, this is the weakness area which are visible through the comments of the customer. And the next is another guest also mentioned that the special requirements such as their anti-allergic allergenic bedding and the preferred tea were not available on arrival. Since Hammock company aims to provide luxury service, failure to meet promised requirement may reduce loyalty. Obviously, if they are having expectation, somehow they have mentioned here. Just wait. When I made my booking, I was assured that my bed would be made with this special anti-allergenic bedding and which I need for the good night's sleep, and that's my favorite blend of tea would be available. So they mentioned in this kind of things in advance, but still these are not provided to the guest. So even though we are providing the luxury services, if we fail to meet the requirement of the guest, again customer satisfaction will be lower and customer loyalty will also be reduced also. Okay, now next is repeated customer also noted that the menu has not changed between the visits. Since many guests return frequently, a lack of variety may make the resort less attractive over time. Obviously in the comment they have mentioned that they are visiting the Hammock company several times, but same kind of menu has been provided in front of them. That means they are looking that they think that company is not making changes internally in their menu, and they are not trying the new thing, not adding the new kind of services or new kind of menu. So they will obviously be get bored at some point of time, and again due to that they may change their preferences of the resorted. So this is also the problem. Okay, noticed. Competitor lounges provide additional luxury room facilities such as body dryers and professional hair care equipment. Hammock company may lose loyal customer if it does not continue to innovate. So this all point indicate that company is lacking innovation and the internal process, right? So these are the things highlighting for the innovation point, right? And the overall customer loyalty is currently strong, but again last few paragraph, if you have gone through the last few paragraph, so this indicate that the company lack innovation overall, and if this is the case, the customer will get bored over a time, and they may switch their preferences to the other resort company, and Hammock company will lose competitor, and it will, if they will lose competitor, and they also the customer loyalty will be reduced, and automatically it will impact to the company profitability. So this is for the part A, and which is for the 8 marks, and it is very enough. Yeah, okay, so because we have done some calculation, we have also provide explanation based on the information provided to us. Okay, now let's move to the part B. The question is saying explain the two advantages of Hammock company using the balanced scorecard approach to performance management. See, and it is for the 3 marks, so 1.5 mark for the each of the advantage. See, if we use balanced scorecard, balanced scorecard measure the performance of the company from the 4 perspective. That is the customer perspective, financial perspective, internal perspective, and the last was learning. Yes, so we will be focused we will be focused on this 4 perspective. Currently company is focusing on the 2 perspective, that is the financial and the customer. Rest 2 has been ignored. But if you have gone through the comment of the customer which indicate that company lack innovation. Okay, so now based on the this keeping this point in the mind, we need to explain the advantage. What would be the advantage if Hammock company will adopt the balanced scorecard approach for evaluating the performance? So now I have explained the first point, provide a broader view of the performance. So balance scorecard measure the performance using the both financial and non-financial information. This is useful for the Hammock company because customer service and quality are important to success, not just profit, even though you can add regarding that innovation point. So currently customer are complaining regarding the innovation. So if we are using the balance scorecard, obviously balance scorecard also include the internal process and innovation point, so company will also focus on that area. Okay, so next is the help focus on the long-term success. Balance scorecard encourage management to monitor factors such as innovation, internal process, staff development. So this will help to ensure the long-term competitive advantage rather than just focusing on the short-term profit. Obviously, so if even the manager are trying to increase inflating the profit due to some loopholes, they can't, because if we are making changes, or if we are trying to be good in the one perspective by using the loopholes or creating the window, by just making the account through the window dressing, in that case obviously other perspective will get impacted and it will be very difficult for the manager to hide their performance. Okay, so these 2 are the advantages. You can explain by your own as well. It is not necessary to write the same point which I have mentioned here. Okay, now let's move to the part B, second requirement, that is to suggest. First we need to suggest, then next we need to justify 1 goal and 2 performance measure for the each of the 2 perspective of balance scorecard which are not currently addressed by Hammock objective. So currently Hammock objective is focusing on the financial perspective and the customer perspective. They are not focusing on the internal process and the innovation learning side of things. So question is saying for the rest 2 perspective which has not been mentioned, we need to suggest 1 goal and 2 performance measure along with the justification. Okay, I have done this for you. So current objective cover only financial perspective and the customer perspective. The 2 missing is internal business process perspective. So here goal will be to improve the efficiency or the internal process of the company. So now my first performance measure will be average time taken to resolve the booking amendment. As the customer have mentioned, they are facing the issuing from the administrative point of view, right? So customer stated that the changing a booking required several calls. In fact, they have emailed a lot before confirmation was received. This indicates that inefficiency in the administrative process. Measuring the average time taken to complete the booking amendment would help management assess whether the internal system are operating efficiently and whether service is being delivered promptly. Obviously, there are so many complaints for the administrative point of view, especially regarding the booking. So if we are using the average time taken to resolve the booking amendment, company can see whether their internal processes are efficient or not, or whether we are trying to deliver the service promptly or not. Okay, so this will obviously support to the internal business process. Okay, now next performance measure, because question said 2 performance measure. Okay, so if you only explain one, you won't get credit. You need to explain both. So now second is percentage of customer request fulfilled on arrival. Okay, so our one guest special request for anti-allergenic bedding and the preferred tea blended were not available when they arrived, even though they was assured before the booking, right? So in a luxury resort, obviously customer expect personalized services immediately when they come to the resort. So measuring the percentage of customer request fulfilled on time would help company to ensure they will deliver those services which are promised to the customer, I mean guest service consistently. So this measures whether special guest requests are met immediately or not, which is very important for the luxury resort like Hammock company. Okay, so these are for the internal business process perspective. And now next missing perspective was learning and growth perspective. So goal is here to encourage innovation and on continuous improvement. Okay, so the company is giving training, but still from the comment we have received from the customer, the innovation is lacking currently. Some customer mentioned that every time they used to visit the Hammock company resort, same kind of menu is available. Even though they are comparing the Hammock with the competitor, that their competitor is providing this equipment or like facility in the room where the Hammock company is lacking. So we need to think from the innovation point of view here. So my first performance measure is number of new room facility introduced each year. So customer comments showed that competitor lounges offers additional room features such as body dryers, ionized water taps, professional hair care equipment, which Hammock company does not currently providing. Right. So measuring the number of room facility introduced each year will help company to monitor whether they are adding the new facility or trying to be innovate new things. Ensure company remains competitive in the market. And next is number of menu changes introduced annually. Okay, so a repeat customer complaint that the menu has not changed since from their last visit. Since many customer returns regularly, lack of variety may reduce satisfaction over time. Measuring how often menu are updated would encourage management to refresh the guest experience and improve the repeat business. Obviously they have mentioned that every time they used to visit the Hammock company, the menu is same. That means they are very loyal customer. They are visiting the Hammock company frequently. So if we will don't update our menu, they may change their preferences. They may visit to the other resorted. Okay, so in order to have a refresh experience to those repeated visitor, we need to change our menu or updated our menu every year so that the guest or customer will have a new experience at the Hammock company resort. So this is how we can solve this kind of question. I hope now it will no more challenging for you guys. I know it is very little bit tricky. Initially we can't like deal with this kind of things, like especially for the non-financial side of things, but with the practice, with the consistency, you can do it. So let me know in the comment box whether you guys are able to solve this question or not. And thank you so much for watching. If you found this useful, please share, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.